So what is colocation and how much will it cost you? If you've not come across it before, the best way of describing colocation is how I probably describe it to a relative of mine. It's a little bit like secure storage, but rather than looking after the kind of stuff you'd find in your attic, we're looking after other companies' servers. In other words, companies physically move their servers from their in-house comms room into a metal cage, otherwise known as a rack, into a building that's specifically designed to look after their IT equipment, otherwise known as a data center. So how much would this actually cost? There are three major determining factors into the cost of colocation. The first is the type of data center that you move into. The second is the size and the number of racks that you're going to be using. And the third is the amount of power that your IT equipment will be drawing. So let's start with the data center itself. Broadly speaking, there are going to be three factors that determine whether or not the base cost of your rack is at the budget or premium level. So the first factor is location. Data centers located in major cities or capital cities are typically somewhere between 30 and 40% more expensive than those located in non-metro areas. Obviously, data centers based in the countryside, in the middle of nowhere, they're probably going to be the cheaper end of the scale, whereas data centers on the periphery of major cities are going to be somewhere between the two. The second factor is tier levels and redundancy. So data centers that have got a high level of redundancy are typically rated at a tier 4 level, whereas data centers with a low level of redundancy are rated at a tier 1 or tier 2 level. Once again, the average between those two is a tier 3, and they will typically offer a good level of technical redundancy and security. The third factor is technical support and SLAs. Data centers that do offer SLAs on things like power and connectivity will typically cost more. And on the technical support side of things, there are some data centers that will be able to give you access to the facility 24/7, whereas other data centers, perhaps on the cheaper end of the scale, will only be able to offer you access to technical support Monday through to Friday during normal working hours. So, having picked your data center, the next major determining factor in the cost of colocation will be in the size and number of racks you need for your IT equipment. Racks are typically measured by their height, and specifically by the number of U can fit into one. A U is short for rack unit and is around about 1 3/4 inches in height, and is also about the same height you would find in a standard rack-mounted server. Typically, data centers will offer racks in three major sizes. Quarter racks, which are 11 U in height, half racks, which are 22 U in height, and full racks, which can range from 42 to 48 U in height. If you want, data centers can provide you with custom sizes, but they will typically cost more because they will take up more space on the data floor. So the third major determining cost is power. Servers run 24/7 and of course use a huge amount of electricity. For every kilowatt of power you put into a server, in the old days you had to spend almost a kilowatt of power to cool it down using air conditioning units. Nowadays, in modern data centers like this, you can use far more efficient cooling systems like evaporative cooling, which use up far less electricity to cool down 1 kilowatt of power you put into a server. So the amount of power that you can put into a rack will be dependent on its size and also the power density of the data center. In normal power density situations, a quarter rack will take anything up to around about 6 amps of power. In a half rack, it'll be around about 12 amps of power, and in a full rack, anything up to 24 amps of power is considered normal power density. Anything higher than this is considered high power density and requires specialist equipment, not only to bring the power to the rack, but also to cool the servers down. In the comments section below, you'll find a link to our website where we outline a range of prices for racks depending on different scenarios, such as their location and their tier rating. At the lower end of that range, you'll find data centers located in the countryside that are probably tier 2, which means their redundancy won't be fantastic, and also perhaps your access to those sites will only be from Monday to Friday during normal working hours. At the top end of the range, you're likely to find tier 4 data centers located in the heart of capital cities. They're likely to be able to give you 24/7 access, and they'll have very, very high levels of security as well. And then in the mid-range, you'll find data centers like this one. This is a tier 3 data center located just outside central London, about 30 minutes away, and we also provide 24/7 access. If you want an exact price for your data center space here in the UK, you'll find another link in the comments section below to our quotes page, where we can send you a same-day quote for any type of data center here in the UK that will match your specific business needs.